Welcome back to the Token Intelligence Show, where you get to follow along as John and I try to navigate this new world of AI that we live and work in. And today we're going to talk about text message bankruptcy. Specifically my own personal Chapter 11 filing of text message.
All the details will be covered.
So I'll give you the backstory here. I was working on a project with a friend. We're at a coffee shop. We both have our laptops set up. We're at the bar there. So, we're side by side. And he was showing me something. And I said, oh, actually, let me show you this other thing that I was working on, or an example. And so I'm command tabbing, through my apps on my laptop. And I had recently upgraded to Tahoe.
Okay.
Which separate discussion on
your upgrade experience
on the trajectory of macOS on the desktop. But for some reason, my setting around notifications and the text message badge that shows up on the Messages app was reset, because I'm a no badge guy.
You're a no badge guy.
No badge guy on
like
email, Slack, anything. Nothing. No badges.
I'm a calendar invite badge guy, but nothing else.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You can
get behind that?
I can get behind that.
Right.
Yeah. So that was reset. And so my friend saw my text message unread count, or my unread count on messages.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to guess how many, what do you think the count was? Just give me a wild guess.
Great
John.
question. I also want to guess at your friend's reaction, to be honest, but I'll guess at the count. The count. Okay, reasonable count. I'm going to go from my own personal experience.
Okay.
A lot for me, and we're just talking snapshot in time. Nothing weird happened. You didn't join like a new group chat that like all of a sudden blew up.
You're
just
not
normal
planning
day.
a family vacation.
Okay, right. Okay. Normal day, high, like really high for me would be like 22.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go 247.
247.
And my friend's reaction was very similar to the reaction that you just had, which was, whoa, how do you have 247 unread messages?
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
In part because he knows me and he knows that I'm an inbox zero guy, which we'll talk
with
about.
Email.
With email, yes, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about inbox zero. So, of course, because of who I am, I had a very visceral experience, realizing that as an inbox zero guy, I had gotten to a place where seeing 247 unreads just fly by my view as I was command tabbing through didn't even register.
Just a normal
for me.
day for you.
Just a normal day. For you, it's 22. For me, it's 247.
What do you think that accumulate? Like, what kind of timetable are we talking that it got up to that?
I think a long time.
Okay.
Because I spent some time reflecting on this.
Okay.
I spent some time reflecting on this. But, okay, this was really interesting to me because when we started talking about this, you brought up a really fascinating use case around AI running locally on people's computers that I am going to blatantly use as a justification
for your behavior,
for my bankruptcy.
Okay, so this has been the last 2 weeks here, the first part of January in 2026.
Yep.
Where Claude-bot, CLAWD bot.
Yep. Not to be confused with Anthropic's Claude
tool or
model.
AI.
Yes.
Now, since this has blown up, Anthropic has written them a letter to say, "Hey, please stop using it." So I don't know. There was a whole thing about it. It's now called Molt, or I don't know. Yeah, we I don't know about the naming, but I think it's Molt.
Claude
but
was
they
CLAW because it's their
they spelled it like a lobster,
like a lobster claw.
Yeah, right. But I think they're rebranding to Molt because lobsters molt when they grow.
Wow.
I don't know. Probably. Yeah. Anyways.
Did they just use AI to say, hey, we need to rebrand?
I think they specifically said, hey,
adjacent
Anthropic just sent me this scary email. This is my current name. Give me 5 lobster adjacent terms to rename my company.
It actually makes me feel very good about Loeb.
Yeah, I think you're crushing it.
Yeah.
An update about Loeb coming soon.
Yes.
to
Loeb update
everyone.
coming soon. But what is
what does it
Claudebot?
actually do?
And then
Yeah.
tell me how it relates to text messages.
Yes. Okay. So, in short, Claudebot is something you can install on your computer, and people are going out and to the store and buying Mac Minis,
Yep.
which is essentially the cheapest Mac you can buy. They're installing the software, AI software, open source, and giving it access to everything on their computer.
So it's a LLM.
Right.
that
It
runs
interfaces.
on your
It
computer.
interfaces with any of the you can pick.
Okay.
OpenAI's LLM, Claude, whatever Gemini.
Yep.
You can pick your flavor, but you install the thing. You connect it to Gemini, Claude, whatever you want to use,
Yep.
and then you give it a bunch of access to like all of your files, your text messages if it's a Mac, your iMessage, your Slack. People are giving access to their 1Password accounts, to credit card numbers, like to wild stuff.
What could go wrong?
I mean, we're seeing stories of, and some of this like has got to be exaggerated, but we're seeing stories coming out where like, I set this whole up and I gave it this objective to make money on, what's that? Polymarket.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you know that? That's
Yeah.
it's a site where you can bid on events that are happening. It's to make money on Polymarket. So it just like runs in the background, reads like X feeds, makes bids on Polymarket. You give it like a $300 budget, and it like attempts to make money, for example. So there's some wild things. But to your text message, I think the most common use case is give this thing access to my email and my text, have it read things, have it ask me like if I need to do something, or ignore it, or try to respond for me. And then I think that's the most interesting thing.
This makes me feel so justified
yeah.
because people are going out and buying a Mac Mini for several $100s,
Right.
installing an open source tool that's connected to an LLM
Right.
that has root access to their file system in order to deal with email.
And text. Yeah. Well, because the reason the Mac Mini matters in this equation is if you want texts and you want to interact with your text, it has to be a Mac. That's part of the whole reason that people are
because
buying
of the
that.
way it works on the file system.
Correct.
Yes.
So it's directly related to the text part, honestly.
Totally. Oh, yeah. So I am not the only one who's text message bankrupt.
I don't think you are.
Okay. Wow.
I think there's a business opportunity here to buy some server space and buy a bunch of Mac Minis and set these up for people. What could go wrong? No security or privacy concerns.
And it's just
you know.
a layer in front of iMessage that's actually just
Yeah,
running
just
on
a
the
fleet
root-
of Mac Minis.
on the root files.
Right.
And you just have people log in with their iCloud account
Uh-huh. Yeah.
or Apple
Yeah.
ID these days.
Apple
wow,
would never-
that dated me.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
iCloud.
Apple. Yeah. Apple would never frown upon such a thing.
My gosh. Okay, so I
Great.
feel justified. That makes me
Yeah.
feel better exposing my Chapter 11 text message bankruptcy
Right.
on the air,
Yeah.
to our entire audience.
Yeah.
But I will say, as I was thinking about this, I happened to run across an article on Hacker News that was really, really interesting that addressed this sort of concept of change in communication channels. Okay. And this is going to relate back to Inbox Zero, which we'll talk about in a second. But I wanted to read a couple of quotes from this article. So the title of the article is "How We Lost Communication to Entertainment." Okay.
I'm ready.
And this relates to the Claudebot thing, right? Because if you step back and just think about what you said, like I'm buying a Mac Mini so that this tool can give LLMs direct access to the file system that runs my messages.
Well, and it's hard to exaggerate what people are trying to do with this, as far as like think and act like me, run all the time, read all my messages, pretend like you're me, and do stuff.
Totally.
And as you imagine, wild stuff happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. The author of this article, which we'll put in the show notes, How We Lost Communication and Entertainment, 2 quotes here. The first one, all our communication channels are morphed into content distribution networks. We are more and more entertained, but less and less connected. And then he goes on to say, quote, but for most people, their email inbox is simply one more feed full of bad advertising. They have 4 or 5 digit unread count. They have a 4 or 5 digit unread count. They scroll through their inbox like they do their social media feeds. Pretty interesting. Would you agree with that?
On the email side, sure. Not on the text message side for me. But this is like definitely happening.
Yep.
Like where text messaging is a big channel for a lot of brands, growth for marketing,
Yep.
advertising. That's definitely happening. And the entertainment for sure is happening. I was lamenting to you the amount of productivity tools around like iMessage compared to the amount of entertainment tools of like emojis and embedding links with like pretty clickable things and then the sharing videos and photos. They've invested way more money in that than in the like productivity piece.
100%, right? Like, can I create a reminder, which is part of the Apple ecosystem, from a text message, which has to be one of the most ubiquitous use cases of, hey, could you do this? Or, hey, could you look, check this out. I sent you a link, etc. You can't easily create an Apple reminders reminder from an Apple Messages iMessage.
Yeah, you can't archive texts. Like
you have to delete them.
Nothing. Yeah.
And only recently have you been able to do any sort of marking as unread, and then you can now filter unreads as well.
Right.
But the form factor is horrible. I mean, it is the worst set of tools for managing a large amount of communications.
So which makes me think that's got to be intentional, right? And the question is why?
That is a great question. One of the things that I thought about as I was thinking through my bankruptcy was that I'm in the process of reorganizing. Right? Chapter 11 is an intention to actually reorganize and pay off the debt. But the medium is designed for largely synchronous communication, or it sort of rewards synchronous communication. So, and one example of this is the 3 dots that have an animation that indicates that someone is responding.
Right. Well, and a lot of the marketing stuff is drops, where like you're trying to get people to activate quickly on some kind of like flash sale or whatever. So that's totally.
Yep. And I think that's reflected. I mean, it would be interesting to see if there were studies on patterns and behavior around communication.
Right.
But it tends to happen in synchronous bursts, right?
Yes.
There aren't many conversations I have over text message that are long-running asynchronous conversations that are longer form. I mean, do you have those?
No.
Right. And
because they get lost. I mean, that's a practical back to the organization thing.
Exactly.
If you were trying to do that, how do you even do it?
Exactly. And I mean, at least email, even though, email to the point of the author article, is sort of a feed of bad advertising. You scroll through like your social media feeds.
Right.
But at least email has some affordances for building a process around, I want to respond to this later, so I'm going to file it, tag it, snooze it, whatever the mechanism is in your email provider of choice.
You should be able to snooze text messages as well.
You should be able to snooze text messages, for sure. Yeah. So, of course, I'm justifying...
You're doing great.
Thank you. You're my bankruptcy counselor in this episode. But I think that has a lot to do with it. You remember Marshall McLuhan, who coined the phrase, the medium is the message?
Yes.
And I thought a lot about that as I was processing through my friend's response and, why I had ended up in bankruptcy.
This is really interesting on the medium is the message. you would have had a T9 phone at some point, right?
Yes.
Where you texted like via the crazy, it's T9. Is that the right?
T9 Word.
Yeah. Word. Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
T9 Word.
No. Yeah. That's right. It's part of the thing about that's like maybe the original text message medium
Yes.
is T9. Then you move to BlackBerry clicky keyboard.
Yep.
Then iPhone style keyboard.
Yep.
So we don't have good data on the SMS piece, but I bet because I'm jumping ahead a bit, but you're going to share some data on the email piece.
Yep.
But I wonder if there's like going to be a similar, if you could get to the data, if there'd be a similar trend as the medium
that's
changes,
really interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Because how do you be the point is, how do you be text message bankrupt if you're using T9 Word? Right.
Well, actually, okay, so talking about the medium as a message, I think is very applicable here. Because if you think about the form factor of the phones that had T9 Word,
Yes.
the screens were very small.
Yes.
There were hard limits on the number of characters you could send in a text message.
Right.
And so it was, and just it was expedient, but it did not create the same type of entertainment, like dopamine reward for instantaneous response.
Right.
It just felt like a very different, it felt more transactional, in terms of this is pretty functional, right? Like I'm checking in with you, which still
it depended.
happens.
I remember texting some girls that I liked where there's definitely
true.
some like kind of like how long are they going to take, to text me back on
Yeah,
their
that's
T9
true.
Word. But other than that, yeah.
Yes.
I would agree.
I think that's contextual because
Fair.
that could happen with email though too.
That's true.
But I also am just justifying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's look at the data.
Okay, let's look at the data. Let's look at the email data. Okay, let me share my screen here. So I wanted to actually test, the idea here is that I wanted to test this theory. I wanted to test this theory about the change in the communication channel.
Yes.
And, are these communication channels actually changing in this way
Right.
and moving towards entertainment? Right?
Which email's a little fuzzier because the text is so clear. Like there's 3 errors. There's like T9 Word, clicky key, like BlackBerry keyboard and iPhone. This one's more subtle because the email medium has kind of been the same, but other things have changed.
But exactly. So you're a data guy, so I'm going to give you my methodology here, and you can tell me if you think it's sound, because actually digging into the data was it was really interesting, and there are a lot of outliers that I had to deal with. Okay, so I used IMAP to pull 20 years of data from Gmail.
Nice.
Locally.
How long did that take?
You want to know what's great? I just did it through Apple Mail.
Really?
And just let it sync. And it took a long time, but it took a couple hours.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is easy. It's just going to be in a very nice, format. And I didn't have to deal with APIs or anything.
Right.
And so then I just copied well, actually what I did was I sort of ran an initial analysis. I just used Cursor, to write some Python scripts to do an analysis. And what I realized was that responses, from different email clients and then threading made it very difficult to analyze things because there's so much variance in how that stuff is broken up. Even in the way that some email clients will respond, and, it can get tricky. And so I narrowed it down initially to just emails that I sent, so emails sent by me. And then I had to narrow it down even more to emails that I sent that were the beginning of a conversation. So like initiated conversations to sort of rule out. I mean, I just didn't want to spend hours going through a bunch of edge cases and trying to deal with the outliers that were skewing the data. And so I thought, okay, emails that I send that initiate a conversation is a normalized data set that would show me trends
Yes.
over time
Right.
around how am I communicating with other people.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who are not looking at the video, we have a couple charts here from my email analysis, which I actually thought is kind of crazy. 20 years of email data is really interesting.
Right.
So the first chart is time on the x-axis and then average words per email on the y-axis. And the trend, so 2005 to 2009, these are in 5-year chunks on the x-axis. So 2005 to 2009, about 60 words per email, a peak of over 120 words per email from 2010 to 2014, just under 100 from 2015 to 2019, a low of 40 or just under 40 from 2020 to 2024, and then 2025 was an average of 60. So I came back up to my original, I sort of started and ended in the same place.
Yeah.
Although that's just 1 year of a 5-year period.
So we've got to dig in on the cohorts of like who you're communicating with, what they're.
I'll let you do that.
What are your
That's an
roles?
agreeable data project.
Right.
But what was interesting to me, one of the most interesting things, and again, those of you who aren't watching the video, the second chart shows the number of emails in the same time period, so the quantity of emails that I initiated. And it roughly follows the same trend. And so my longer emails are also associated with sending more emails.
Yeah, that's
It's
interesting.
not as if I was sending less longer emails.
Right. Yeah.
With the exception being 2025, where my average word count increased, but I sent a very low number of emails. And that's just 1 year, but even if you extrapolate it out over a 5-year period, it's still low relative to the other years.
Right.
So I have sent way less email, and they have been way, way shorter.
Right.
Almost trending more towards a message, a text message-esque.
Well, and we don't have the
trend.
data here, but what's your theory on what the text message data would look like over those time periods?
Okay, well, one more email chart,
Yes.
because this is also interesting.
Yeah.
The last view that I thought would help me triangulate whether or not the trend that the author of that post mentioned about,
Right.
there's more volume of messages, but we're less connected. Is that true?
Right.
I thought about the sort of character qualities of the message itself.
Okay.
So were these more personal, longer form like communications, or was it a bunch of back and forth with a customer support rep, that are
Sure.
like more transactional?
Right.
And so I created an index for the level of like relational, like what is the index for how relational the content is? So that could be personal greetings, cursor generated. This is the composite. This is what comprises the composite.
How many tokens did you spend?
Didn't even look. Personal greetings, questions about life, warmth, and storytelling.
Okay.
But it follows the exact same trend line, which is also like very interesting to me.
So it gets more transactional over time.
It gets more transactional over time. Yep. So shorter emails, less emails, more transactional over time. And so that's the email data. So I think that I personally have largely experienced the truth of what that author was saying, with change in the email channel. But you asked about text messages.
Just hypothetically, what do you think the graphs look like?
It's inverted for sure, because there's just the quantity of text messages is way higher.
For sure.
Although I think that the length of text message has probably fallen dramatically in the last couple of years because of the features that Apple has implemented. So, for example, things like tapbacks, right? Where you just long press.
Thumbs up or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Exclamation point, heart, all that sort of stuff.
Good point.
But So I do think that the quantity of text messages has increased, right? Because the other thing is, to your point, there's way more commercial context in messages.
Right.
So that could be shipping notifications.
Right.
It could be like customer support conversations. It could be, you know, marketing messages from brands. It could be coordinating with a handyman who's coming to fix your dishwasher.
True.
Right. And so from that standpoint, messaging has become like far more fragmented across a bunch of different contexts
Right.
than it was previously, you know, which
Right.
I think would contribute to a pretty significant volume
Yeah.
increase,
Mm-hmm.
although I think it has become more transactional.
Yep. That checks out. I keep my text messages really. I'm super obsessive about keeping marketing and stuff out of them. I'm the like stop, unsubscribe, mark as spam guy with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like every day.
Yeah. Okay. Every day. That is very inbox zero-esque, which we need to circle back to.
We do.
So give us a working definition of inbox zero or an official definition of inbox
I don't think
zero.
I have an official one, but I remember when this became big, and I believe it was from lifehacker.com. It's 2012 era when it was good. And you,
Yes.
you know, all of these things trend
Yes.
toward marketing and clickbait, right? Over
Yes.
time.
Yep.
But it was really good then, really great stuff. And so basically 3 components, I think, that I've adopted from it. One is the goal is every day to get to inbox zero. And I'm not perfect at this. I'd say weekly, roughly. Get to inbox zero, which means you have to make decisions on each email. And the decision is archive or delete if you're a deleter, but I'm an archiver. Archive,
Yep.
snooze, like I'll do this in 2 weeks, I'll do this on Friday, whatever. Or actually like do something about it, like reply to it, put it in your task management system, whatever.
Yep.
Action. So that's my application of
Yes.
inbox zero.
I think that's a great explanation. And actually, this is what's really interesting that the concept of inbox zero came up here, because immediately after my friend responded with shock about the number of unreads I had, you know, on my messages icon, I immediately thought about you're going to find this so interesting, hopefully, or weird. But let's just imagine that my brain is a vector database.
Okay.
Because we have to relate this back to
Let's
AI.
just imagine.
Right?
Okay.
And so my brain's query engine pulled up a memory of a screenshot of the iPhone of the guy who coined the term inbox zero. That is what I thought of instantaneously after my friend had his reaction. Okay. And I'll show it actually, because I have a picture of it. It took a little while to dig it up. Okay, here we go.
Which I love this picture. So if you're listening, it's a screenshot from an iPhone, upper left corner, AT&T 3G.
Yep.
And it has all of the like original icons, you know, when everything looked like physical objects, like the notebook.
Skeuomorphic.
Skeuomorphic, that's the
was
word.
the term.
And it's got the iPod
Yes,
app, which
it
is
has
fun.
the iPod app.
Yeah.
I mean, incredible.
Incredible.
Absolutely incredible. And then also just the pixel density on the screen. So, you know, for those of you listening, there's a screenshot of Merlin Mann's iPhone from 2011, and then a screenshot of my phone from a couple weeks ago, which I think is an iPhone 12 Pro.
Yeah.
So I'm way behind.
Yeah, you are.
Way behind.
Sure.
And even just, the difference is pretty striking. But Merlin Mann, who coined the term inbox zero, I followed him pretty religiously during this time period. He had a blog called 43folders.com. You can still go there. The content is still amazing.
Okay.
But I was sort of forming, you know, in my early career, you know, how do I, especially as an early founder, I got really into it because the amount of things that I had to manage was significant. And so,
Right.
you face this sort of productivity crisis of how do I get all this stuff done?
Right.
And somehow I found Merlin Mann. And if you are the type of person who likes thinking about productivity and putting together processes and methodologies and all
Right.
that sort of stuff, but without all the snake oil,
Yeah.
stuff, Merlin Mann is the best.
He's the guy.
Highly recommended. And so he was very formative. And I remember I found one of his friends wrote a blog about, which this is hilarious, how to organize the apps on your iPhone.
I think I remember this.
Yeah. And that's how I found the screenshot. And that's what I remember it from.
Okay.
But what was interesting was when my mind brought this screenshot of this iPhone from this blog post. Yeah, the retrieval from almost 15 years ago. And it was just crazy to me how instantaneous it was that I thought about this. But it's because Merlin Mann, the inbox 0 guy, has 57 unread text messages on the messages icon on his phone. And for me, this was a major look in the mirror moment because I remember having a reaction very similar to my friend when I saw this. How can, especially because it's Merlin Mann. He's the inbox 0 guy.
Yeah.
Like, how does he have 57 unread messages?
Right.
Which was wild. And so back then I had the same reaction that my friend had. And, now I'm experiencing the great reversal. And now I identify much more closely with at least the Merlin Mann of 2011, in the context of text message bankruptcy.
Which we've established that the 57 unread messages of 2011 is maybe equivalent to the 247 of 2026.
Yes, there's inflation. There's inflation because of the quantity.
Yes.
Because of the increase in quantity that we talked about, right? There are way, way, way more messages being sent across a variety of contexts. And so, this is the classic in 2011 dollars. In 2011 messages, my 247 is probably 57. So we're roughly on the same playing field.
So we've done a lot to actually justify your current position, yet bankruptcy is still the term we're using. So where do we go from here?
I love this live therapy. Well, okay, so first of all, I do need to say that part of me just really doesn't like the changes that have happened. And especially because I'm a tool guy. I mean, I'm a raycast guy, right?
Featured in your screenshot, actually. If you look at that. It's subtle, but it's there.
Oh, yes. Raycast is in the screenshot. For those of you listening, the Raycast is a widget on my main iPhone screen. And for those of you who don't know what Raycast is, we'll put it in the show notes. But it's sort of a way for you to control most things on your computer and even third-party apps through a single interface. And so for sort of workflow optimization, it's a marvelous, a marvelous tool. I actually wonder what Merlin Mann would think about Raycast.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll try to get him on the show.
Send him an email with the subject line, Raycast.
So that might be interesting.
We know he will read it.
We know he will read it because he's the inbox 0 guy, but we can't text him.
Yeah, correct.
Clearly. So 2 thoughts. One is because I enjoy finding tools that make sense for managing, these processes. Yeah. The form factor that we talked about with messaging is just, I just don't like interacting with it because it feels so primitive, right? It's a horrible tool set to deal with a bunch of messages. The other thing, actually going back to Merlin Mann, is called the Pebble problem, which he coined. And when I looked this up, I remember the Pebble problem. It was great just reminiscing about Merlin Mann in general. But this is in 2007 that he wrote about this. And I just searched for the pebble problem, Merlin Mann,
Okay.
I think is what I used. And it pulled up this blog post. And the title of the blog post is The Strange Allure and False Hope of Email Bankruptcy. I mean, how amazing is that?
awesome.
Also, this is the year that the iPhone was released, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You know, so okay, so I'm going to read this quote about the pebble problem. Email is such a funny thing. People hand you these single little messages that are no heavier than a river pebble, but it doesn't take long until you've acquired a pile of pebbles that is taller than you and heavier than you could ever hope to move, even if you wanted to do it over a few dozen trips. But for the person who took the time to hand you their pebble, it seems outrageous that you can't handle that one tiny thing. What pile? It's just a pebble. So I also think that because messaging has become so transactional, because there's much more of an entertainment context
Right.
to it, even down to the form factor, that the like weight of sending a message has become lighter in a negative way, right?
Right.
So if emails are pebbles, I would say text messages are like grains of sand.
Right.
You know,
Especially in a large group chat.
especially in a large group chat, right? But I mean, look, these are all tools that can be used for like great things like staying in touch with your family.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But group chats, at least in my experience, a lot of them tend towards entertainment,
Yeah.
right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just really, it goes back to the medium as the message,
Right.
And sort of changes the way that you view that. Okay, I was just justifying away, but you asked a legitimate question. A legitimate question. So remind me your.
No, yeah. I mean, the question was, it's just funny. The arc of it is like we started with bankruptcy, and there's a lot of good reasons to be in bankruptcy, but it's still bankruptcy.
It is still bankruptcy.
So
Yes.
what's next? What are we going to do? Are we going to get out of bankruptcy? Or are we just going to stay in bankruptcy?
Okay, before I answer, can I just have one more justification since I'm on such a roll here?
Sure.
Thank you.
I was going to say, as your friend, sure. As your therapist, no.
Boundaries. Boundaries. Well, I'm
ready.
this is a question for you actually.
Yeah.
So one other thing I thought about as I was ruminating on this is that not only have we seen changes in the communication channels themselves, but communication in general has actually sort of converged on chat as the primary
Right.
interface. So, and email is actually probably, ironically, the exception to that, right?
Right.
It has changed the least in this regard.
Right.
But you have Slack or Teams or HipChat. Do you remember
I
HipChat?
do.
Purchased by Atlassian,
Oh, R.I.P.
never to be seen again.
Right.
Which is chat,
Mhm.
In a business context, or a community that you join, and that's not a new
Yeah.
thing, right? Like IRC has
Like a
been around for a long
Discord
time.
thing.
Discord,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
But in large part, right? Like, sort of HipChat, and then Slack comes onto the scene and makes chat. It displaces email as the primary communication form factor,
Right.
for work. And also a lot of work happens over messages as well, actually.
Correct.
And now, over the last couple of years, we use AI every day, all day,
In the
every
chat
day.
form factor.
Right? In the chat form factor.
Right.
And so I think part of it, okay, I promise this is my last justification, is just exhaustion with the form
Yeah.
factor, right? Like, I don't want to go type in, I don't want to go interact with another chat, especially after using, because I use AI pretty extensively,
Right.
throughout the day. And so, it's like, okay, Slack and AI comprises a significant percentage of my day. And
Yes.
I don't want to have
Right.
more like chat exchange.
You know what people are doing around this? Other than,
Other
I don't
than
know,
giving Claudebot access to their credit card.
right? Or their iMessages. People are using the audio feature.
Yes,
For
to send
messages.
voice messages. Yeah.
Yeah, like over chat. Right.
Right. You hit record.
Yeah, yeah,
and then
right,
it sends an audio
Yeah,
message.
Exactly, audio
Yep.
message, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's, other than like, I don't know, just deciding you're going to spend more time on text messaging. That's what people are doing that,
Yes.
that I've seen.
Yeah. Although in
which
my
is interesting.
experience, that doesn't last super long. You do that for a little bit, and then I have not seen that be a durable.
Interesting.
I don't know. Have you?
My wife uses it a lot. I use it very occasionally.
Yeah, I use it very occasionally as well.
Now, and they transcribe now.
Oh, they do? That's interesting. Maybe I should try that as
Yeah.
part of my Chapter 11 reorganization, which I need to address the actual question.
The bankruptcy.
I need to address the bankruptcy. So I did a lot of self-reflection as part of this bankruptcy exercise. And one of the things I realized is that I can complain. Two things I realized. I can complain about the form factor and, the challenges with how primitive the tool is, and the fact that I don't like that Apple has, made it easier to spray confetti than to, have a meaningful asynchronous conversation.
Right.
But that's the world we live in.
Right.
And I need to adapt, right? I need to figure out new systems for that. And I just
Sure.
hadn't done that, which is very un-Merlin Mann-esque,
I
right?
know, yeah.
So I'm sorry, Merlin, as a disciple, I did not, I'm way late. I had to declare bankruptcy, to get to that point.
So did he with text messages, apparently.
Apparently he did. So I think that's just a good realization for me that, hey, okay, yeah, there's all these factors, but in reality, this is modern communication.
Right.
And you can sort of either choose to be a Luddite and, eschew like the dominant way that you're going to interact with other people digitally, or you can figure out, how to, how to approach it in a way that works for you.
I'd love to have a professional on the show. That's like
To analyze
I
it?
don't.
You're paying for that, by the way.
No, somebody that's like in like PR or media
Yeah.
that truly gets like thousands of text messages a week or something.
Yeah.
And actually like talk to them about what they do. I think that'd be really interesting.
That would be really interesting, because the other thing is that if you have notifications on, it's super distracting because of how many
course.
messages that come through.
Right.
And it makes it hard to do, this is the Cal Newport deep work thing.
Right.
Did you notice how subtly I just went back to justification?
Yep.
This is why we need a psychologist to analyze me.
No, I mean, maybe, but I was thinking, but think about somebody and, in like a PR role or like
Yeah. Or a recruiter.
That would be a great one.
Totally. It's got to be horrible because of how bad the tooling is.
Right.
It's got to be absolutely
I'd
horrible.
just be so interested to like know, because surely they probably have some sort of system, and I bet it's really interesting, like how, and I bet it's varied between people about what they do.
Totally. That's interesting. Okay, I'll think about that. So that's one thing, is that, I clearly have not set up the systems that I need to for myself in order to thrive in this, age of ubiquitous chat.
Well, I think yes and no. I mean, you have it and you have, like, because I think what a lot of people do is your problem is more visible because you leave them unread. What a lot of people do is read them and just forget. It's just not visible that it's a problem.
That is true.
So I definitely do that sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
Your
yeah,
problem is in some ways you're more disciplined because you actually have some kind of like bifurcation between.
That is true. That is actually true.
But
And yes, that is actually true, which I have a note about that in a second. But I think the bigger realization for me was that if you asked me, hey, do you try to keep up with people you care about? Is that something you
Right.
desire to do?
yeah,
I would absolutely
course.
say, yeah,
Right.
yeah, of course I want to do that, right? But like so many things in our lives, my actual behavior would suggest that buried in those 247 unread messages, that there are messages from friends and family that are months old,
sure.
that if I'm objective about it, it's like that's not responding to that
Right.
is not being a good friend,
Sure. Yeah.
or not being a good, sibling
Sure.
or cousin
Yeah.
or,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And that was pretty convicting for
Yeah.
me to think about that
That's cool.
because it's easy for me to just justify like, I don't like this or I'm busy
Right.
or, another thing I thought about is like, okay, well, I have kids and like when I have margin, I've just spent a lot more time like building stuff,
Sure.
especially with AI,
Right.
and I really enjoy that, and so I'm using the time margin that I have differently. And,
Right.
all those things are true. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, what do you value? And you
Right.
will behave according to what you value.
Yeah,
That
sure.
will actually,
Yeah.
that'll actually reveal your value system.
Yeah.
And so I think that was another thing where I just sort of let myself believe that, I actually do want to keep up with people that I care about. And it's like, well,
Right.
you're not doing that.
Right.
And the fact that you don't like the medium is not a good excuse for that. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So all that to say, there is a happy ending here.
Okay.
I sat down a couple days ago
Okay.
on my computer because the phone,
Oh, sure.
the app on the phone is horrible. But I sat down on the computer, and to your point about keeping those messages unread, because you can now filter to unreads, I filtered to the unread messages,
Yeah.
and I went back and paid off all of my text message
Nice.
debt, which felt really great.
Yeah.
It felt really great. It was still so painful because if you filter to unreads and then you like respond to a message, it still stays in the list as read, even though you're filtered down to unreads. And so you have to
That's
like
rough.
toggle on, toggle off. So it's still a horrible interface,
Yep.
which made me upset, but I
Yeah.
got over justifying it and paid it off. Actually, let's see. You want to see
Let's
how
live-
many unread messages do
I
you
want to
think
see
I
a
have
live
right now?
view now. What did you get down to?
I got down to 3.
Okay.
And I left it at 3 because I needed to process those into, actually, I'll tell you very specifically. I needed to process one into like setting a meeting on my calendar.
Okay.
So that like that was
Right.
a reminder to call someone and I needed to block the time off.
Right.
The other one was to set up to schedule a dentist appointment because
Sure.
to our point earlier, how do you talk with your dentist now? It's through text message,
Yep.
And then the third was to pick up a chainsaw and a blower
Which you did.
from the
You
repair
did.
shop, which I did on
Yep.
the way over to this recording today. And so those were things that were like very transactional, and I
Sure.
was going to translate those into like a
Right.
reminder or
Yeah,
linear
right.
issue or something of that
Right.
nature. So I got,
Do you have a personal linear?
I do, oh yeah,
Really?
oh I definitely
Okay,
have a
that's
personal linear.
that's a separate
Yes.
therapy.
Although I am
show. I mean,
toying with the idea of moving to reminders for personal stuff because
Yeah.
it integrates with the Apple ecosystem
that's what I've
really
been.
well.
I did that. Yeah.
But linear is just so great.
Yeah.
But yes, I do have a personal linear.
I love that.
That'll tell you something about me.
Yeah.
That's why my friend was so shocked.
Sure.
Right?
That makes
Like,
sense.
If you
Yeah.
have a personal
You have a
linear,
personal linear.
like you're a certain
Which is a project management tool. If you
Yes.
don't know.
Yes, linear is a project management
right.
tool. The best project
Yeah.
management tool.
Agreed.
But okay, so what's your guess?
Oh, okay. Count. 7?
Okay, I don't know
You don't know.
actually, and my phone has been buzzing, so I really don't know.
Okay.
let's see here.
I'm gonna check mine too.
8.
Oh, I was close. Oh, I should have made you guess. Darn.
Wait, I didn't hear yours.
Oh, mine's.
Don't tell me. I'm going to guess.
Oh, and mine? I don't have badges turned on, but I can count. It's okay. There's not that many. You should guess.
4. I still need
2.
okay. I need
But
to
I
turn
checked
badges
it
off.
before we started.
Although actually, it's okay. It's actually
Oh no, I just marked. I just marked them. I'm not going to remember to respond to those people because I opened them.
yeah.
Whoops.
It's actually okay. I take that back. It's actually 11 because I do not message with my wife in Apple Messages. I use a completely separate app,
Okay.
Signal.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's like Signal,
Right.
different,
Right.
different messaging apps that you can use out there.
Right.
But that was I had to do that because
Because you just
because of my
like, would never
bankruptcy, it would
see
get
stuff.
like lost in the stream, and there wasn't, the unread stuff was horrible, and so
Right.
it was just like, okay, I'm just going to literally use a completely separate app
Yeah.
in order to like have, because that's important. It's like, okay, if
Yeah.
someone's running late or the child is going to the
Right.
hospital or something, like you don't want to get lost in the 247.
No. They did add you can pin certain people
Yes, you can.
like the top.
And
but-
I think you can have like VIPs and do some other stuff like that.
yeah, I don't know
but-
how to do that,
yeah.
but I believe you.
Yeah, there you go. So 11 effectively.
All right. Good.
Yeah, I feel great about that.
Yeah.
I wonder what
feel good
Merlin
for you.
Mann. I wonder what Merlin Mann's count is
Currently. We can ask him in the Raycast email. And also,
Maybe
can
I'll,
you send me a screenshot?
maybe I'll try to ping him on X and ask him. Which,
should.
He's not going to respond.
I don't know. I mean, that's an old enough screenshot where maybe he might.
All right. Well, that was a journey. I went through the valley of text message bankruptcy. I reorganized
Right.
and I emerged on the other side.
Right.
Victorious. So I think that's it for today's show. Thank you to everyone for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.